up, Inkie peeps? It's Adele from Inkie Quill, and today we're diving in to another new project. I know I have a lot of projects going on, but this one is a new one that I really like the look of and I want to give it a go. So this is a Jane Davenport art journal, and it's lovely. The paper in it is beautiful. It was sent by my friend Evie, and I made myself wait. Well, I did slightly cheat, but I've made myself wait to start this project until I've finished my Dina Wakley media journal, and that one is all done. You'll get a flip through for that in December because I've scheduled art journaling videos every 2 weeks over on Let's Get Inkie, and so I can't do the art journal flip until they're all done. So that will be in December, but I can now start on this journal, and it's I think it's A5 kind of size, and I did this one little page with some of my Chatterbox level girls here on Patreon, and I did this test, and it was doing this page that kind of sparked this project. I was just going to treat it like a normal art journal, but then I thought back to when I was younger. I used to make these colour books, and I was such a nerd. I would spend my free time copying textbooks, and so this is my favourite book. I've talked about it before. It's the Collins Artist Colour Manual, and it's luscious. It's filled with all sorts of information about colours, and it's just a really nice read. I've had this book, my parents bought it for me probably, when did it come out? I would have only been a teenager, 2003. So they bought it for me when I was 14, because that's what every 14-year-old wants, a historical book about the history of colour. Yeah, I was a normal teenager, but I absolutely love it. And so what I want to do, because I found it quite relaxing and I used to do it in primary school too with grammar companions, and I'd write out, you know, it's such what a baby primary school teacher to be would do, but I would write out the meanings of nouns and adjectives and adverbial phrases and all sorts of stuff. So I'm a nerd. I like copying textbooks. So I thought I'm going to make my own colour art journal thing. So this, I am going to put this on fast forward and work through it a little bit in a moment and talk over the top. But my idea for this is that I want different sections based on different colours, and I'm going to use some of the information out of this book on different colours. So let's say, oh no, we won't do green. We will do green, but just not first. So I might copy out a couple of facts that I like about yellow. I might include some little embellishments or stickers that are yellow. I also want to add some different paint swatches of that particular colour, and if I have any, you know, stickers or painted paper that I've made, pop that in there. And then I also grabbed a couple of magazines. I grabbed Better Homes and Gardens, and I was flicking through it, and there were sections like this that I thought would be great to include. I also have some paint chips. Is that a whole thing on bacon? Bacon. Sorry, distracted by the bacon. And I thought it would just be nice to see. I could include that on the red page, just cut out some bits and pieces, and also just have a read of this magazine because I haven't bought myself a magazine for a little bit. This would be perfect for the green page, and just make a really fun collagey, handwritten, paint swatchy, color coded book. So I hope you are going to enjoy this little journey. I've also got some inspiration from this book, which I've showed in my favorite art books video. It's called An Illustrated Life by Danny Gregory, and it goes through all different artists' sketchbooks, and I just really like the look. I can't remember who it was, but I love the look of this. So like a picture with some writing next to it. I've never had a sketchbook or an art journal where I've just written things in. Everything's always arty and layers of paint and all sorts of things. So so stuff like this, just have like pictures. I could draw some, I could do magazine pictures or embellishments, and then also just write some facts about different colours. I might also look online to see what I can find, but just have a bit of a play. This is also a book that it doesn't have colour information per se. It's called Painting with Watercolours, Oils, Acrylics and Gouache by Wendy Gelbert and Ian Sidaway. And it's not so much that I'm going to use information out of this, but just the look of this with the text and then a picture to the side. I just really like the look of how the pages are set out. So I might get some ideas for some of the composition of the pages, so to have 4 photos with some writing under each one, that type of thing. And then my last book that I've got here, I think I've also showed this one too, 1,000 Artist Journal Pages by Dawn DeVries. So cool. I definitely haven't said that right. And I thought that this would help, just flicking through this would help kind of boost my arty mojo and help me to kick off with this journey, I guess. So this is a new little project, and it's the type of thing that I'm not going to record the process every time. I might check back in a few months and show you where I'm at with it. I love this. So just things like this. So this could be a page about blue, and I might colour the background and then add some text here and then some sort of something other, so that some of the pages might look art journal-y, some of the pages might look more like something like this, which is more a sketch. I see this more as a sketchbook, where it's I don't know, it's just not as layered up with paint and collage and things like that. So yeah, I'm excited for it. I really used to love copying textbooks when I was younger, and nothing's really changed. I've also got Daphne's diary. I think I'm going to use some of these flowers. So my question is the colour order. So I think if we look at this page to give us an idea of colours, I'm very much a Roy G. Biv type of gal, but where do you put pink? I think I might start with pink, and I think I might go pink, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, or do I do pink then? No, I feel like red and pink need to be next to each other. Then we might go purple, grey. Or do I even need to do grey, black and white? I think I might leave grey, black and white towards the end, because then if I don't feel like doing them, I don't have to do them. And then sometimes I really want to swatch all of my watercolours again, and so I might just open a random page and just have a bit of a colour break, a rainbow break, and just swatch all of my watercolours or a different type of paint or brush medium. And I'm just going to roughly put some post-it notes in where the pages will go, and then I think I might use some of those mixed media tabs that we made a couple of months ago as my dividers as well. But I'm going to jump in and get started with pink. Let's start with pink. Actually, we're starting with red, because I had a look through my colour book and there was no set pink pages, because pink isn't one of the main colours, and so if I do pink, it will be after purple and I'll have to find information elsewhere. So this page here, I end up doing 3 double page spreads in this video, so get yourself comfy, but this page is probably my favourite out of all of them, and it's my swatch page. So every colour is going to have a page like this where I swatch all of my things, and even if you don't do this idea, try a swatch page just of all one colour, because it's really satisfying to see the different shades next to each other. You could also, if you were a stamper, you could also include inks, like choose one main stamp like a heart or a solid circle or something very basic, and just stamp it several times in different colors, different colored inks. But it just turned out very pretty. So my aim for these swatch pages, swatch is a hard word to say if you're trying to speak quickly. The aim for these swatch pages is to basically do different types of swatches. So I didn't want to do an entire page all of the same shaped circles, or same size circles, sorry. I wanted to change it up, and some of them I'm going to write what it is in big font like those Tombow brush markers, and others I might do little circles or little squares, or with the paint I just do a giant blobby bit of paint. With the watercolors I do some nice stripes, and I think I talk about it at the end of the video, but I don't think I really need a title per se on this page. It's pretty obvious. It's red. Unless you're colorblind, you might not know that it is red, but for me, I know it's red, and I'm pretty much going to be the only one flipping through this book, unless I do flip throughs over here on Patreon. But I think by doing a title, it would kind of take away from the fun of this page a little bit, and it would also break up all the redness. So I'm going to go titleless, I think. So this I'm planning on 3-ish pages per color. It might go to 4 sometimes, depending on what the color is. Green, we may only have 2 pages for, no, equal opportunities for green, hashtag. I might be able to do 3 for green. We'll see how we go. So then I'm using the watercolors, and I forgot how saturated the Jane Davenport watercolors are. They're really, really pigmented. And so I'm just using just any old brush that I have lying around and my Pilot G2 pen, and I'm just really messily writing the titles. Very silly. If you are doing watercolor swatches, start at the top of the page, not the bottom, because then you just continue to put your hand in it the whole time. And here, the names of these watercolors are actually printed on the sides of the watercolors, and they're stuck in, like I've blue tacked them all down. And so what I did is I got my swatch, my art journal that has the swatches in it, which was one of my very first videos over here on Patreon, and it really came in handy here because I was able to count along and figure out what the names of these specific red shades were. So I'm glad I made that video a year ago. It's hard to believe that Patreon has been on for a year. I was so excited. But yeah, so that came in handy because I was a bit confused as to how I was going to do it. And then this one turned out more orange. It's called, it's that word I can't say, cadmium, something or other, red hue, but it's actually quite orangey. It looks red on camera, that's good. In person it looks a little more orangey, so I probably will repeat it on the orange page as well, but that's okay. So here I couldn't lean on the page properly, so I had to very awkwardly write the name of that color, so it's a little shaky, but it did the job. So now I gave this a bit of a dry with my heat gun, and so I could write the title of the Dilutions paint in just a white Sharpie paint pen over the top. And while I was waiting for it to dry, actually no, I heat gunned it. After I heat gunned it, I went through a couple of magazines that I had. Actually, I only went through, what did I go through? No, I went through a couple of magazines to find some red items. I went through the ones that I bought and also a Daphne's Diary, I believe. And I went through and I found any red images that I could find. There was also this title that said what's inside, and that kind of made me want to do a little tip in. I wasn't going to do a tip in on this page, but it it was just too perfect not to use. So I went through my stash of 4x6 Project Life cards that I keep next to my desk on my Rascog trolley, and I'm just using, I think it's a Ranger glue stick. It's nice, it's gluey, it does the job. I got it in a kit, and I'm just making a little tip in. So first of all, I'm sticking down all of the wordy bits, but then I realize I need to stick my tip in first. This is my big box of washi tape, and oh boy, is this one of my most neglected craft items. Let me know in the comments, what's your most neglected craft item? For me, it's my rejected washi tape. Not rejected is a harsh word for them. I would say not favorite washi tapes. I have if you've watched the craft tours over here, I showed the little washi container that I have, and it's got 3 little tiers, well basically 3 containers that I just stack within each other, and I keep my fave washi tapes in there, and sadly they all can't be favorites. It's just the way the cookie crumbles. I can't have everyone as a favorite. And this box of washi tape, I think may have had a little bit of sun damage, because some of the washi tapes have completely lost their stick and others are too sticky. So it's tricky to find ones that actually work. I don't trust washi tape. I've had it peel off a lot of times. As I've said before, we have lived in very wet rental properties in the past with mold issues and rising damp, and so I need to use extra adhesive when I'm using washi tape, and so I just put a bit of the glue stick on the back. And then these were some mixed media stickers that we made over here on Patreon, probably yes, it was at the old house last year sometime, and so they were really fun to make. The video's still here on Patreon if you want to see that. And I'm just having fun sticking stuff. So you know, if you watch my journal with me videos that I do over on my Let's Get Inky YouTube channel, the first thing I always do is I stick down my pictures or my ephemera pieces, because then I have a better idea of where my text can fit. And so this was no different. I stuck down the images that I wanted to. Looking back, I wish I hadn't stuck as many down, and I wish I hadn't written as much. You'll see in a moment, it gets quite busy. There's writing everywhere on this page. It's very text heavy, and I wish I hadn't stuck those. Yeah, just a couple of those last images could have been without, or I could have used a bigger writing. I guess it's because I was in a bit of a traveler's notebook frame of mind, because I guess it's the project that's most similar to this. It's quite different to my art journal, because there's not a lot of writing, and it's different to my Project Life, because when I do my journaling in Project Life, it's usually only really tiny on little tags. And so I had it in my mind that I had to write really little, completely forgetting that I have an entire art journal to fill out. So I don't need to write small at all. And so I wrote that first little bit up the top there, and I'm just copying out my favorite parts from this book, and I'm not going to, copy or recreate this book in any way, so it's not a copyright issue, because it's just for my own nerdy enjoyment, copying out textbooks, and I'm just writing down some of my favorite facts there. I did cut out writing that top part, only because you couldn't really see what I was doing, because I was writing and my hand was covering a lot of it up. Down here, I decided this was a section of the text that talked about what red can symbolize, and how it's quite a contradictory color, because in different cultures it can represent things like evil or danger, whereas in other cultures it can do wealth and beauty and longevity. So it's quite an interesting color, red, and the history of it, because it's complex. It's not just black and white. Color pun, gotta love a color pun. And so I decided to use my Tombow brush marker, I guess not brush end, I don't know what you'd call that, the fine tip end, there we go, that's the word I'm looking for, to write those key words in there. Now I'm using my Jane Davenport watercolors just because they were on my desk right in front of me, and I'm just doing some hearts in here because I got to the point where I was like, whoa, there's too much text here. You need to step back, Adele, and not fill this tiny gap with text as well. So then down the bottom here, I found a really cool word. This was actually not in the book. This was online somewhere, and it's called rubricate. I think that's how you say it. And it's when you use red like symbols or capital letters in text, and to emphasize, you know, a mood, something happening. And I thought that was a really cool word, so I decided to pop that one in as well because I had a tiny space there. And then surprise, time to fill in the little tip in here. And so I just went through and I found this bit, and I wanted to, I think it's important to note here, I wanted to change my font because I felt like if I went ahead and did cursive font, because I've got that cursive up the top, it would look like it was one chunk of text. I know I have a dashed line there, but to the eye glancing over it, it would still read as one big chunk of cursive text, whereas by simply changing the font to just do simple capitals, it makes it look like a different section of writing. So keep that in mind. If you're doing a project like this, you might want to change your fonts up if you like. If you don't want to, that's cool too. I was just feeling very overwhelmed with all the text. I'm just going here, and I decided not to write anymore on this page because it was getting busy, and so I just filled it with all different types of circles using some colored pencils and my mermaid marker. And now I'm just going on this page and just writing red a million times. They're quite messy, the fonts aren't nice and neat. It was very loose-handed, I guess you could say, but I like the way it looks, and it fills up that page. So next up, we're on to the next page, and so this one I decided to grab my favorite shades of red. So I went back to my swatch page and I found which reds I liked the most, and I'm just drawing kind of these messy little boxes for me to put them in. They're not, I purposely didn't do them even, and I think that and then I smudge so much on this page, so much. I guess I had forgotten what it was like to write with a pen because, yeah, there's a lot of smudging that goes on here. So for every color, I think I'm also going to pick my 5 favorite shades, if I have 5 favorite shades. The colors that I don't have a lot of, like orange, yellow and green, and purple actually, I might struggle with a little bit, but I might just pick my favorite 2 shades. But this was really fun to do, and I decided to do love hearts because I like love hearts, and I thought it would differentiate it from the actual swatch page and just make it a little bit different. So then I'm grabbing the Dilutions paint, and should I have gotten a smaller paintbrush? Yes. Did I? No, because my other paintbrush was lying in front of me. The smaller paintbrushes are literally like a meter to my side, but once I started, I had to continue with the big one. Is anyone else like that? Do you start something with maybe a tool that's not quite the right tool, or a supply that's, you know, not perfect for the job, but once you start, you just have to keep going and you won't let the supply win? You have to show it that it can complete the task that you want it to. Maybe that's just me and my paintbrushes. So here I also forgot that paint was wet, and I do smudge that in a little moment, you will see. But here I tried something different. Aaron has been doing a lot of sketching. If you've been following along with his Instagram, Inkie Beard, or any of his live streams that he does over on Twitch, he does illustration, and his style of drawing is very different to mine. I'm very I'd say particular lines. I don't do a sketchy kind of look. When I do draw, it's more cartoony or pop art style, where he likes to draw kind of more realistic. And so I decided to embrace my inner Inkie Beard and have a go at more of a sketchy doodly type of style, and it was different. It worked out. And then I was going to paint it with watercolor, and then I realized that I didn't use a permanent pen to do the drawing with, so that was a no-no. And so instead I went with some colored pencil, and I did it very messy. I went out of the lines, and I didn't try too hard with it. I will try harder on another page, but I just wanted to do a really rough kind of coloring in. So here I am using my Prismacolors. Prismacolors are beautiful pencils. They're pricey. I had tried a few others before buying them, and I also bought the small set first. I think I must have had the 24 set. I think it was more than the 12. Maybe I had the 12. No, I think it was 2 layers, 24. And I tried them before buying the big one because, yeah, like I said, if you're investing in art supplies, it's so much better to just buy like a little sampling before you jump into even though the deep dive into the big products is so tempting and they all look so beautiful because there's a rainbow of colors available. Just try with 1 or 2 of the colors first to check that you like them. That's what I'm doing with the Copics that I've still got to use. Actually, I've got to buy some Copic paper, or is it marker paper? Copic paper? I don't really know. I'm going to go for a wander to Officeworks hopefully sometime this week and have a little looky at what's there because I really want to try them. There'll be a Technique Tactics video coming up soon, hopefully. So I'm just having a go colouring them in. Like I said, it's very sketchy, it's very rough, and that's the way that I think I want the style of this sketchbook to be. I really do want to embrace the concept of an artist's sketchbook. They look so pretty in pictures, and I just want to have a go myself. So that will be the style continued throughout the book. So then I'm just also gluing down some of the fruit pictures that I had cut out. There's some raspberries and strawberries and some apples and red miscellaneous fruit in a jug. And so I put those down, and then I'm just copying a little bit of information that I got off the internet about good red food. I just typed in red food fact and this came up. And then I decided, because the text of the page previously was so busy and so tiny, I decided to do this one a lot larger. So that's why I've changed my font again, and I like different fonts. Here you can see I smudged that freaking Y. Why did I smudge the Y? Who knows? And then in doing this, I smudged the current faves on the other side, and it's just... oh, it's a whole lot of hullabaloo. And so I'm just using my glue stick again to glue down some washi. And because, peeps, you know it, you can always cover it up. And here I've smudged that too. You can't really see on camera, but it's smudged. So I'm just grabbing a Project Life card. It's actually not a Project Life card. It's just a bit of 4x6 cardstock. And I'm just cutting that to the right size. And then I decide I'm going to write on it first. And then silly Adele almost smudged it again by turning it over to glue it down. I couldn't wait. It's so impatient. So I'm sticking this down here, and then I decided to grab a bit of washi tape and make it look like, ooh, I found a piece of paper that was cool and I stuck it in my artist's sketchbook. Hopefully that's the vibe it gives. Who knows? This washi tape went in the bin after this because it was very difficult to get off the roll. But then I decide I need something on that section down here, so I just write some more facts about red and how the pigments used to be created, what they were created from. And then this page is done. Now I have to say, the look of this page, this spread in particular, is the vibe I was going for initially. However, I do like the contrast between the white space of this page and the previous page, which has no white space. It has a tiny bit, but not much. But
But yeah, I think it's going to be a really fun project to work in. I'll revisit it with you guys in a few months' time and show you where I'm up to, and give you I might even do a few blog post sneak peeks of maybe orange, which will be my next colour. But I'll talk with you real time in a moment here and show you the finished products. I hope you've enjoyed this new project that I'm doing.
Da 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 da! It's all done. So these are my red pages. Might do another red page. I'm not sure at the moment, but I'm going to leave it there for now. So this was the page I just did. I had fun. I played around with these pencil drawings. They're not great. I went out of the lines. Let me focus them on there. I went out of the lines. I'm not a pencil colouring person, but it's something that I'd like to learn more how to do, I guess. So that might be fun to just do some little sketchy type pictures. And then I wrote some facts I found on the internet in some scripty font. And then you saw I smudged everything. So I used some washi tape because you can always cover it up. Add a little bit here. And I wanted, so this was kind of what I wanted it to look like. This page was very, very text heavy, but I think it'll be nice to have some, you know, some contrast in the pages so they're not all like this. I am struggling, I think, because with my traveller's notebooks, I fill them up so much. I fill up every little tiny piece of space. And so with these, I'm struggling a little bit because I want to leave those spaces blank, but it's hard. It's hard, peeps. Let me know, does anyone struggle with chopping and changing between journal styles? I am struggling a little bit with the white space, but I love the way it looks. So I'm just that's why I'm stopping now. I'm not doing another page because I think I'm going to walk away and then come back to it in like a week or so and really see which page style I like the best to do for the next one. So there's this page, and I thought I'd do for each one my favorite reds out of my collection of supplies, I guess you could say. This is the very text heavy one. But I also love this look as well. So like I said, I think I'll do a mixture of both. I might do some tip-ins and things just to make life fun. I'd love to tip in some like printed acetate or vellum as well. Use up some of my washi. I have noticed actually this is a great way to go through my old washi stash, because right now I have a small, I have 3 little containers of washi that I keep out here where my craft area is, and then I have that big box of washi that you probably saw that has all of the rest of the washis, and that stays in the spare room. And I think it has been damaged a little bit with the heat of summer. Because there's no airflow or air conditioning in that room, and so this washi tape I'm throwing out. It is so sticky and it's done. It needs to go. So this is good for me to kind of de-stash some of my washi. So I love this little tip in and using up some of my mixed media stickers that we made over here on Patreon, and just kind of having a play with it. This is fun. Now I need your help. I think, I didn't do that first. It's all right. I can. I'll see where I might put it here actually. I want to put a tab for every colour just so I can find it, but I realised that I don't have any red ones, so I need to go back and cut out and make some little red ones for this page. But I'm thinking that I want to keep space, because if I get new red things I want to add them to the page. Do I need to write the word red here, or is this just obvious enough that it's red? Because I don't know where to write. I don't know whether to write red down here or up there. I'm thinking the tab will go there. Is it being on the tab enough? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. For now, I'm just going to leave it blank until I figure out what I'm going to do. But I think this is going to be a really fun little project to work on. So what I'll probably do is I'll work on, I might just do like red and maybe yellow and blue on camera. So I might do another one in a few months time, maybe near like November-y time, and I'll let you know how I'm going. But it's just going to be a fun little project that I can work on when I feel like journaling, but don't want to make too many choices, because by limiting myself to a colour, it's good. It limits your resources, which makes you be able to get stuff done quicker. Alright guys, I'm going to head off, but thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys really soon. Bye!